What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. S&P ending green after snapping its 5-day losing streak. AMC almost touching $53, ending up over $1.50. There's something that I really want to talk about with everybody, and it is the conflicting data between the short interest and the volume that I'm seeing on AMC. So I'm going to break it down, everything that I'm seeing, and share it with you. Let's get right into it. First off, S&P finally, at the end of the day, finally had a nice recovery going into tomorrow's consumer price index, which are really going to give an indication on where inflation is going. Now, as you can see, all the way back from the March of this year, their forecast has been below the actual, and they have their forecast set at the same as they did last month in August at 5.3%. So investors are going to be keeping a close eye just to see on where inflation is going. Is it really going to be transitory? Is it going to start to slow down? What exactly is happening? Now, first off, this was a phenomenal play that we had, and it's running after hours. I almost had a feeling it was going to run after hours. I alerted this pre-market like I do every morning at about 9 o'clock, saying if this got over about that 1450 level of resistance with some volume like you have here, chances are it was going to go more to the upside. We played it and cashed on this pretty well. I also signified a little bit later on, once it got that 1750 push, it would go a little bit more, got about another $1. And then here you go, you see it moving after hours from that 1750 level again. Absolutely phenomenal. It's probably the best plays we had. A couple plays that absolutely got crushed was Moderna. I love playing Moderna, even though it's a little bit high priced for some individuals. I love playing Moderna for the range that it gives you. I mean, if you look at where it was a high pre-market, 457 all the way down to 415, it's a $42 range. It gives it just a lot of opportunity, whether you're playing, stocks or you're buying options. That's why I love playing Moderna. This one, absolutely. I really thought that 445, 440 was going to act as a strong level of support. I'm sorry, that 450, 445 would act as a strong level of support. Also, just because pre-market, the futures were up so high, and this got absolutely pummeled all the way down to 415, recovering a little bit. Some people were able to play the bounce, but this one really got crushed. Going into tomorrow, I do want to take one quick look before we start talking about AMC. Take a look at where the SPY is. It still had a little bit of a down, hit a low of that 444. You still got a ways to go for that 50 moving average that has been hitting support, but there hasn't been really a sign of reversal. For tomorrow, keep a close eye on where the SPY opens up. The SPY is your leading indicator to all of your, especially your large cap stocks. Some of your small caps don't really run off SPY, but your large cap stocks, the SPY is a leading indicator. Also, keep an eye on the VIX, whether you can trade it or not. So many people, reach out to me, what should they do if they can't trade it? Should they switch platforms, or should they play another play? If you can't play it, that's okay. You can still use this as a really good indicator. It's sitting at 1937. If it can stay below that $20 level, you're going to have more positivity, more green going into the future. So always just keep an eye on that going forward. Now, let's take a look at AMC as it is up just pennies after hours. Something I want to point out to you. So Ortex had reported the the short interest was up over 20% today, and I even think Wrench had, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it was Wrench that tweeted that this is the highest that it has been since we've been tracking the stock, especially over the past few months. But here's where I'm just having a hard time understanding exactly what's happening, and I'm going to explain to you what I think it means and what I think it could be. Is because AMC has been up from that $30 bouncing off support over the last, I don't know, let's see what we got, 31 days, let's say month or so, and it's been slowly moving to the upside. So here's the thing, in order for a stock to move to the upside, you're going to need natural supply and demand, more buying pressure than selling pressure. But if shorts are continuing to add to their position, one would think that just means there's a lot more buying pressure happening. But here's the thing. Look at the volume today, under 75 million shares traded. Now, if you go back to the historicals of the volume, and the average is 108, but if you go back to the historicals of the volume, and we're just going to look at this on the daily chart, just to give everyone an idea how it's pretty much traveling in line. When you look at when the price has moved in either direction, we're up around, you look at this one right here, we're up at 228 million. You've got this one's about 200 million, even 130 million. But we're sitting at almost lows. I mean, the nearest low right here is 52 million that happened on a flat spot still, but we're still moving towards the upside. So what I'm thinking that is happening is, and this does not include the funds that have shorted the stock from $5, $10, $14 and so forth. This is all additional shorts that have added on, is that they couldn't break below this $30 level. And rather than trying to short like O'Day management did, which we talked about, which is already down 70% in his position, rather than trying to short at that 30 million or that $30 price point, or even shorting at the $50 or the $55, wherever it is that we get to, they're going to let this run to the upside, let it gain much more momentum higher. Therefore, if they feel that that $30 level is strong support, or if we get to, let's say 90 or 100 or wherever it is up higher than that previous, any bit of support around that $60 level, that's when they're going to start piling onto the short positions. Because in order for AMC to be moving, and I might be wrong, trust me, I'm wrong all the time, but it's moved 55% in less than a month, and there's been really no significant volume. So how can a stock just continue to move that much to the upside without any significant volume? I mean, you talk about, the opportunity for delta hedging and so forth. There's still a ton of shares that have ended every single Friday out of the money. So when it comes to the gamma squeeze, the delta hedging that we've talked about, I mean, maybe a little bit coming in on the 24th when we had a massive run all the way from the 37. I think we had a high of $48 that day. We did. That's a good up. That's a 33% move from where we started on that day. There's definitely opportunity from here, but seeing this small amount of stair stepping on very moderate volume, which is definitely lower than your average volume, and it's a 65-day average volume, it begs me to believe that these shorts are not going to be adding on to the positions. They're going to wait for it to run higher, which just means that our natural support is going to continue to run higher. Because when they doubled down and tripled down in their positions, we didn't go back to that $14 level, which was once insane resistance. We ended back up sitting on that $30 level, which inevitably ended up being a gap fill all the way back from June 1st. We ended up filling that gap, maintaining really, really strong support and moving to the upside. So that gap play is completely out of the question. If we continue to move to the upside, we get to wherever they feel like the exhaustion is happening, whether it's 70, 80, 90. It's got to be above the $65, level, but above that 70, 80, 90, 110, doesn't matter where it is. Then when they see that exhaustion happening, that toppiness happening, that's when they're going to add to their positions. But inevitably, our base will be much lower. And this is also a play that if they let get out of control and the real buying pressure comes into this, and then you also have the market makers having to hedge their positions, that's when things can get insanely out of control. So this is my kind of assumption. What I'm just seeing is that there isn't a massive amount of buying pressure leading to this upside. So this is actually making me even more excited, because if we can move to the upside, like I said, it's only time before you let things completely get out of control, or you just say, you know what, I missed my opportunity, move on to the other one, which we do all the time. But this just means that the bulls haven't really entered the stock yet, because they're not seeing that volume. That's something I tell everybody in the group all the time. And I even had said, to something like, ATER today, wait for it to come out of the gate. If it comes out of the gate and shows you that it wants to move and there's massive volume behind it, it's gonna move. So this isn't something that I just come up with. This is, natural trading, and what, traders look for every single day is the volume is what's gonna, show interest, and it's gonna show the price to be moved forward. So this has me even more excited that we have moved 55%. Let's say 60% in the last month, 55% in the last 25 days, say 60% in the last month on very, very, very thin volume. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.